Hi and welcome to today's Material Musings. So I've got these three first. I'm going to show you a few more, but what I wanted to do was show you some of the journals that have fabric on the outside but are just paper based on the inside. But there's some really nice techniques in them, so I really like sharing them. This one is a real special one to me. I started working in it just before my brother passed, so it is that old. My gosh, it's 11 years old. But let's have a look and see what kind of techniques have been used on this. So I used, it was either gesso or modelling paste. I like working with the thick gesso. So I've used it through a stencil, and I've painted on the fabric. This is just like jeans material, so I've added gesso and then started to paint on it, and I've used it as the cover of the journal. Along the sides, I mean, this is just like the tassels from a curtain. But even back then I was experimenting, and we've got some really nice wooden and metal buttons here I really like. And on the inside I've just used the same stencil and the gesso and allowed it to dry, and then covered it with a metallic paint. And it's the same with that one. But this book was just, it's one signature, and it's where I do a lot of thoughts and creating. I think I started it in 2012, or that particular post that I did. I created it earlier, but sometimes I go back and there's still pages that are not yet complete, so I would love to come back in here and add some of the imagery, just finish off some of the ideas, and maybe it will spark new ideas. So I've done quite a bit of journaling in there. A lot of experimenting with stencils and the gesso. But you can, use modelling paste and you get quite an interesting effect. So just with some stamps and some imagery. Okay, so then we've got this little one. So this was made with, it's upholstery fabric, and I've just, covered the journal with it. Just come in a bit here. And it's just a simple, I've stuck the pages in with glue and just down the middle, and then I had covered it. So we've got a nice, just a little book that is, it's got card, made from card. It's one piece of card that's been folded and painted, and now I can add to it. And it's stiff because I'd used, I hadn't stitched, I'd used hot glue. And then this one I really like because it uses the beading that I have. I collect beading as well. And that's supposed to be like around like that. Yes. So I've used cami leather. It's been painted with fluid acrylic, very vibrant. And then I've used jewelry bits and buttons to create. I love these beads. They're my favourite beads. I've used it along the binding. And as I say, it's just one piece of cami leather that I've created into a journal cover. And this one is one that I haven't yet used. We've got this tie there. And it's got 3 signatures in. One of them has come out, so I need to redo that. And they've just been stitched. I think what happened is I did the first two and stitched them, and then I wanted to add a third one, but I kind of just glued it. This is like fabric ribbon. So that's a nice, I love the colour. This was supposed to be like a bookmark in there, but it doesn't really work like that because it's too thick. So I think I might remove that and reuse the beads in a different way. But I do like the ones at the side and the ones at the front. So let's look at a couple of others that use a similar sort of system. So this particular one, I think it was probably my first, and it was inspired by an artist called Tisha Moore when she used to do her fabric journals. So this whole, the front cover, this says gratitude. I'd used lots of different fabrics that I had. These were all smaller pieces that I then joined together, and that's I love this way of I love the way it looks. I loved working on it, and yeah, I just put all of my as I say, I just really enjoyed putting it together. And on the back we've got some clay bits that I made and added. We've got a little pocket here that can add things, and then we've got just these bits of fabric. Some have been machine stitched, and then some hand stitching. But as I say, yeah, bringing them together was just really fun. And in between, I think I've got let's see, we've got 1, 2. This is it's made from greetings cards, so they're not really signatures as such, but it's, well, yeah, I guess they are. Some of them are multiple. So we've got several kind of stitched onto one piece of card and then added to the book and stitched. Yeah. So this was called my Gratitudes and Celebrations Journal. And every day I would take a scripture, take a word, and create a page. When I do my art journal video on Friday, I will do a flip through of the pages. But I wanted to show you the fabric and how you can take bits of fabric that you have created and use them in a project. So even look at this one. We've got some painted, it's again jeans material, and then we've just got a little bit of lace that's attached underneath. We've got some stitching. As I say, we've got the pocket, and I've created a flap, stitched it on the back. It's kind of the fabric's faded. It's been well loved and used. We've got another little pocket here, and then I've got the tie bits there. These are laces, aren't they? Funky looking laces, and then they would hold it all together. It's a bit more chunkier than hold it all together. And yeah, lots of beads, lots of cowrie shells, and I like the sound that it makes as well. So again, this would be a nice project I'd love to kind of do again. And you can make your journals where they could be reusable. So if you're going to create with card and paper, you can make them so you can slip them in as opposed to stitch them on. Okay, and then the final one today I want to share with you is my handbag journal, which is fabric and it's yarn and it's very tactile. So this was one of my favorite bags, and I couldn't part with it, so I decided to make it into a journal. So when we open it out, there's a lot of fabric going on, yeah, a lot of painted fabric, and then we've got 3 signatures, and these are made up of papers that I had painted and wanted to find another use for. So I put it in this journal. But I might change it up a bit. I'd only done like the 2 stitches in there, so I might change it up a bit and make it all fabric. Okay, so what have we got going on? We've got a yarn for the button. Oh, this is what I was looking for. And this goes over to keep it together, and it's like, it can still be held like a handbag. So these are Fimo clay pieces. I think one must have come off there. And then I've used fabric paint on the front. Unfortunately, this isn't leather. It's one of those kind of plasticky materials that over time degrades. But I'm lucky that, well, where I've kept it, it's kept it in a reasonable condition, because the sunshine, salt, and the salt air can affect every type of material. So, okay, let's open it. We've got a lot of painted fabric pieces. I've made a little pocket here. And these were strips that I'd worked on, and I put aside thinking one day I will know what to do with it, and yeah, they came in handy. So we've got some nice elements here again that can be recreated, so it's nice to be able to play and practice and see what you can create. Here's a little doily that I've just made like a little tiny pocket. It could hold a stone or a bead or buttons. We've got the whole of the back has been painted and added. So this was another piece of fabric that I had painted, stamped, stenciled. We've got some sequin waste and some stencil in there, and then it was stitched to the inside. And here we've got another strip of fabric that I wanted to just have another little area where I can put something in. I can, a little tuck spot that I can put either tools, paint brushes, if I was going to work on the paper, in. And then on this side, which would be the inside of, once it's folded, so we've got another little tuck spot here. I'm not sure whether I left this working. Oh, so this was just one of those zips that didn't really, there wasn't really nothing there, it was just an additional zip on the bag. And then where the handles are, I've got another piece of fabric that has been stitched and painted and stitched, and I stitched them with the sewing machine. So we've got a nice effect, kind of like a patchwork effect going on there. So that was my bag journal made with fabric. And as I say, you can combine them. So I've combined with the paper, but I might come back and either work on them as they are or take them out, and I could add some fabric pages if I wanted to. But yeah, some nice pages to work on. So again, this is a place for encouragement. So I do make a lot of things for myself to kind of inspire myself and encourage myself. So these all fit into that category. So we've got a variety of different fabric covered journals that, you know, also satisfy that working on the fabric, stitching on the fabric, adding embellishments and beads to the fabric, looking at what kind of supplies that you might have that you can bring together. You know, you may not have thought about some of the fabrics you have that can actually be painted and created into a journal or used as a cover. So as I say, it's a great way to experiment and, you know, use up all your yarn and create some projects that will really, you know, impact your health and well-being, because you're pouring all your thoughts and things that you may not be able to express or share, but you're doing that creatively, and you've got some projects that are not only tactile. When you touch them, you'll remember some of the things that you may have added, but then you've got the space that you can add and pour out, you know, what's coming from within. So I hope that's been useful, and I hope you try it, and I hope, yeah, using up some of your fabrics, you know, again, some of the scraps that you may have, some of the pieces you may have, you could bring them together and make some really lovely pieces. So I look forward to sharing more with you next week. Take care for now.